PETA. Everybody's favorite animal rights organization, renowned worldwide for their hypocrisy, performative activism, and whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Did you know PETA makes games? Just go onto their website and you can find an all-you-can-eat buffet of questionably made browser games, and even an actual game that was released on consoles and Steam. The quality ranges from, What
the fuck? Why is the egg bleeding?
And a lot of them were things I did not want my roommate walking in on me playing because I don't know how I could explain what I was playing. Since I've apparently relapsed into being a gaming YouTuber, I just decided, fuck it. I'm gonna make a video about PETA games. This is the video about PETA games. PETA is no stranger to the world of gaming. They had their own Minecraft server for a while, and back when Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, they made a guide on how to ethically play the game as a vegan. You remember that? Sure wish I didn't. Can you believe that was over 3 years ago? And I don't know if there's anybody in the world who plays games exactly according to our ethical compass. I'd like to think of myself as a pretty upstanding guy, but whenever I try to go for a scientific or diplomatic victory in civilization, it ends up into me devolving into a brutal warmonger driven by the satisfaction of watching all my enemies fall before me, and they can't do shit, cause I am the one with the nukes. Take me to the Hague, you bastards. I dare ya. Point is, at the end of the day, all this is pretend. It doesn't matter, and making a guide on how to play games as ethical vegans without a shred of irony whatsoever is very stupid. Games, like all forms of artistic media, can be used to convey important messages about society, culture, and what its creators value. But I would be hard-pressed to call anything I played here art, even in the most liberal sense. My Bill Clinton video has more artistic merit than anything on PETA.org. The oldest game on the website is Attack of the PETA Tomatoes. The object of the game is very simple. PNGs of people wearing animal furs pop out from behind a very dated image of the Manhattan skyline, and you have to throw tomatoes at them while avoiding the children and the foxes. There isn't much I can say about this game because there isn't much here. It's innocent enough though, just assaulting people with fruit. It reminds me of my hit 2020 game Redneck Camping Trip, but that game isn't very vegan now, is it? The next game I played was J-Lo, Monster in the Fur. Now, I'm too young to have remembered when Jennifer Lopez was popular. The most exposure I've had to her was when she sang at Biden's inauguration, and when she was popular, I was either not yet existent or still shitting in diapers. And even then, I was more of a bare naked ladies and wiggles kind of baby, so I don't really know what she's about.
In this one, you play as an animal rights activist who is trying to save animals from J-Lo's sweatshop while re-educating the workers about what they're actually doing. Imagine how many problems would not be issues anymore if that's how it worked in real life. Also, you better make sure J-Lo doesn't get you, or else she will kill you. Are you allowed to depict a real person like this? This just feels weird and not right.
Next up on the menu is Super Tofu Boy. Of course, a parody of Super Meat Boy, with one major difference. While Super Meat Boy is fun, albeit incredibly difficult, Super Tofu Boy is not. Also, I guess the protagonist is made of bean curd, but that is a superficial detail. The controls are incredibly loose and unresponsive. It makes the drifting level from Sonic Frontiers look tight and responsive. Not only that, but this whole thing just looks like a scratch game. I couldn't play this for very long just because it's not very fun and it's incredibly aggravating to control. In addition, there's a little tip section that presents you with such questionable claims like meat eaters are 9 times more likely to be obese than vegans are. Can I have a source? Correlation doesn't equal causation, you know?
Forgive me for not trusting you. It's not like you guys have a tendency of making statements without actual scientific backing. Remember when you guys said milk was connected to autism? I do. I never forget.
Then there's Super Chick Sisters, which is a new Super Mario Bros. Clone where you play as a chick trying to rescue Pamela Anderson from Ronald McDonald in order to stop him from turning chickens into nuggets or something. This is just okay. It doesn't feel the best, but at least it controls better than Super Tofu Boy, so I can be grateful for that. Next up is the game that really got me interested in talking about PETA games in the first place. And of course, it's the classic title, Pokemon Black and Blue, where you play as a party of battered Pokemon rising up against their former trainers. The game mostly features 5th generation characters in Pokemon, which makes sense. The ethics of training and catching Pokemon was something Pokemon Black and White explored more than any other game in the Pokemon franchise.
In those games, Team Plasma leads a movement for Pokemon liberation, convincing trainers to release their Pokemon because it's the right thing to do, only for the player to discover that their leader, Ghestis, has an ulterior motive: to gain power by being the only one left with Pokemon. The scope of the plot is rather limited by being an E-rated game meant for children, but the conversation of the ethics of Pokemon battling and catching has continued to be a topic of discussion in the community for many years now. I think it was pretty cool how Game Freak did explore the ethics of Pokemon battling, but the scope of the plot is rather limited by it being an E-rated game meant for children, but the conversation of the ethics of Pokemon has continued to be a topic of discussion in the community for many years now.
I will say, of all the games that I played for this video, this one had some of the best quality of all of them, even if the bar for that is on the floor. Even still, there isn't much here. It's just a handful of turn-based battles against familiar faces like Charon, Ash, and Ghestis. But this time, they're evil psychopaths.
I would chalk it up to the fact that turn-based battles are very mechanically simple. You don't gotta deal with making tight platforming physics or an engaging real-time combat system. You just gotta make a functional menu system and throw some graphics in there. Hell, that fact is probably the only reason why actual Game Freak developed Pokemon games are still remotely playable these days.
At least you can say it doesn't overstay its welcome. Not that it was welcome anyway, but it was brief and relatively painless. The irony is not lost on me, however, that PETA recognizes that Team Plasma was evil, yet they don't seem to realize that it's a commentary on groups like them.
Hypocrisy.
Cooking Mama, Mama Kills Animals is the main reason why I put the content warning at the start of this video, and even with that, I feel like I gotta use the good old Gaussian blur effect for this shit. I'm not in the mood to have my video get age restricted. Our dear sweet Cooking Mama is cast as a sadistic killer who gets off on the brutal treatment of animals. I think that there's a theme here, that you cast everybody that you disagree with as sadistic killers. You gotta help her make a Thanksgiving feast, you gotta defeather and disembowel the turkey in an incredibly gruesome fashion.
Holy shit, what the fuck?
And you gotta make stuffing and stuff it.
What the fuck? Why is the egg bleeding?
When I was recording footage for this one, I had to make sure my roommate wouldn't be coming back for a while because I did not want him walking in on me playing this and having to explain what the hell I was doing.
I gotta like minimize the window whenever I hear my roommate or whenever I hear the door in the other room opening because I'm thinking my roommate's coming home and I don't want him seeing me playing this, and I have to explain to him what I'm doing because quite frankly I don't know what I'm doing either. But at least I don't have to explain it to anybody.
This game is a USDA Grade A prime example of a tried and true strategy PETA uses with a lot of their stuff. Cheap shock value. Who cares about actually provoking thought and nuanced discussion about complicated issues? Just show them a bunch of blood and gore. That will surely get the message across, won't it? It's the same thing for games like Mario Kills Tanuki and a Whole Lot of Lies. Blood, gore, horror. These are easy ways to make people feel disgusted, but they are cheap and hollow. This leads into one of the main issues I take with all these games and PETA in general, is that they do not treat these ethical issues with the nuance and care that they deserve. They are so unapologetically dogmatic about the messages that they try to convey that they forget that reality isn't all black and white. There are only shades of gray. It's true that the meat industry is revolting. Industrial-scale factory farming is horrible for not only the animals, but for the environment and the people who work for it as well. The fast food industry knows full well the shit that they're selling is a fast track to heart disease. But at the same time, and I know I am going to get a lot of crap from some people for saying this, but being able to go vegan and forego animal products altogether is a privilege that lots of people don't have. Some people live in food deserts and healthy, quality food is inaccessible to them, so they have to eat what they can get. Others have dietary restrictions and nutritional needs that would make going vegan exceptionally difficult, and others simply just can't afford it. If you have gone to the grocery store in the past year, you have seen how badly the price of food has been inflating. It's ridiculous. I'm not going after vegans here. There are plenty of good reasons to go vegan. But trying to use cheap shock and shame to convince people to make a lifestyle choice just feels really shitty to me. There is so much on PETA's website that I did not get into, mostly because there isn't much to say that hasn't already been said. But there is one more game I would like to talk about. And unlike the rest of these, it isn't a tiny browser game that you can blow through in 2 to 5 minutes. No. This game got an actual release on Steam, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. I'm talking about the one, the only, thank God it is the one and only, Kitten Squad. Right off the bat, the production value for this game is better than anything I've played so far for this video, but that's not really saying much. Gameplay-wise, it's fine, I guess. It's a pretty simple twin-stick shooter with just not a lot going on. It gets old pretty quickly. It just feels like a poor man's Smash TV or Cowboy minigame in Stardew Valley. The presentation is also pretty mediocre. It's just uninteresting to look at, and a lot of the time I don't know what I'm looking at. Music is also pretty bad, but that's to be expected. Do you think we're gonna have Koji Kondo or Lena Raine making bangers for a PETA game? The structure and story of the game is pretty simple. You gotta rescue the orcas from SeaWorld. That's one thing we can agree on. Fuck SeaWorld. They shouldn't be keeping those cetaceans in those tanks like that. That's abusive. But there are also other animals being exploited too. You gotta help them. You gotta move from room to room, defeating all the enemies in a room in order to proceed. Rinse and repeat until you get to the end of the mission. That is the entire game. Just do that over and over and over again. I played the game for about 20 minutes and felt like I had seen everything that there was to do. And in case if you are wondering, I checked, and this game does work on the Steam Deck. If for some reason being able to play this game on the Steam Deck is a reason why you would consider downloading it, don't download this game. It's not good. It's not worth your time. You'd think that for PETA's first and so far only game, you'd hope that they would at least half-ass it. This is hardly quarter-assed. I've made games in an hour in Game Maker Studio that have more to do and more engaging gameplay than this. I feel like they just slapped some assets together with a rudimentary gameplay engine, just called it a day. Every time I open this game up, I have to make sure my Steam profile is visible, because I don't want everybody on my friends list who's online at the time to get that little notification that I'm playing Kitten Squad. Because I know that would lead me to getting at least 1 or 2 DMs asking me, "Hey man, what the hell are you playing? Are you okay? Do you need help? Do you need me to call the police? Are you being held against your will? What's going on, man? I'm worried for you. Why are you doing this? Why are you playing this game?" Then I would have to explain what I'm doing. At least now that I'm done, I can uninstall this fucking game and hide it from my library. My expectations were already so low that I thought it would be impossible to be disappointed, yet here we are. All these games succeeded in doing is only reinforcing in my mind how problematic an organization PETA is. They're more concerned with shock value and attention-grabbing stunts and rhetoric than actually adding anything meaningful to the discussion of how to treat animals ethically. Let's not even talk about their kill shelters. There is so much more I did not talk about, but there was only so much I could take, and I think I've just about had enough. I don't know what's left to say that hasn't already been said. It was hard enough writing this video without feeling like I was repeating myself, because all these games have the same problems. They're poor quality, don't care enough to tackle these issues with the nuance they deserve, rely on cheap shock and horror, and designed to be outrageous in order to get people to engage with them. I guess that worked on me. It got me to talk about them. I mean, isn't that what they do best? They put up the weirdest and stupidest shit you've ever seen in your life, and then everybody can't help but discuss it. They get trending hashtag, it gets all over the internet. And that's what they want. You know what they say? Never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it. But at the very least, I get to make a video about it. Thanks for watching.